Honestly, um, this team, I would say, team culture is very proper of, I would say, American soccer.
Yeah.
Since I came to college, I read in college, I could see this team culture, having team meetings and spending time together. Like in Europe, is not really like that, especially when you're in the youth academies because there is a lot of competition.
Hello, welcome to the United Soccer Lounge. My name is Riley James. Could not be more grateful that you decided to watch our program on Goals TV. Now, we have a bit of news to address in a moment, but we are interviewing our first USL League One player today, Marco Milanese of Union Omaha, fresh off a cup set over El Paso Locomotive last night. The Owls won on penalties. We'll talk about it in just a few moments, but the news, there was a bit of a gap between episode 5 and episode 6 of this show. If you noticed, great. If you didn't, even better. This show was the talk of conversation about whether it was going to continue or not in that week in a couple days. I am happy to report, as you can probably guess because I'm sitting here talking to you, we have been renewed for the rest of the season. So super thankful to Goals and Jose and everyone on that side for the belief, and thankful to you for watching it. So we'll keep it rolling with the same format. Episode 6 with Marco starts now. Please welcome to the program USL League One defender for Union Omaha, fresh off a cup set victory last night over El Paso Locomotive. He was a member of the youth team for a couple clubs like Napoli and Torino, the Italian youth system. If you've ever heard of those things, fantastic to have this guy on the program. Marco Milanese joins the United Soccer Lounge. Marco, how are you doing, man?
Good. Thank you, Riley, for having me. And that was a great presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
I could not be more excited that you're here. Obviously, in the Open Cup match, you took a bit of a knock. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm good. I the tackle was a nasty one, not gonna lie. But once you get to play, these kind of games, like for a long time, when to take off the leg, to lift it sometimes. Because I know if I would have went through with all of my leg, probably I don't know, I would have break my ankles. Not gonna lie, it was a pretty nasty one. But no, I'm in the game, you always want to give everything. And for sure, as a defender, I'm not going to back up from a tackle like that. Uh, Likely, I didn't get hurt too bad. I'm still limping a little bit. And the guy got the record. So it was good for us, because we got the momentum for us. But yeah, no, I'm good, honestly, ready for Saturday for the next game.
I want to talk about the Open Cup for a second. Obviously, you guys have a history in the Open Cup in Omaha. This is your second season with the Owls. What is the Open Cup atmosphere like versus the USL League One game?
Oh, that's a great question. First of all, it's a knockout stage. So for every game is a final, basically. Because if you lose, you go home, and for sure that's changed the dynamics of the game. Like it's really like more, I would say, tactical game because you don't want to expose yourself too much. But I would say also like here at Omaha, we feel it more. The Open Cup is a tournament that like our fans love it. We love it as a team, and for us, as I said, is another opportunity to win another trophy. Even though could be hard, but for us, it's an opportunity to showcase ourselves against big teams, higher division teams. But we know we can compete with them, and now we draw today. We draw Kansas City, which is gonna be a very hard one for sure. But we're at home, and with the support of our fans, I would say it's gonna be a great matchup.
Yeah, obviously a team that just nearly sold out the NFL stadium in Kansas City, playing Lionel Messi, and now traveling to Omaha, Nebraska to play Union Omaha. American soccer is awesome for that very
Yes.
reason.
Yeah.
The just the difference in what these clubs do, and obviously you guys get to host an MLS club as a third division team, a fantastic opportunity not only for the cup set but just to have that atmosphere and have that team come to your ground. Let's talk about your time in Omaha before we kind of run through how you got to Nebraska. When you showed up in this state in the middle of the United States, what did you expect Omaha to be? Did you have any prior knowledge of what the city is? Tell me about the first couple of days when you got to Omaha.
So it was the first impact I would say was not great. Not gonna lie, but because I came, I think it was the 1st of February last year, yes, and it was very very cold. So I was like, oh no, where I've been, I've been for the last couple of years, North Carolina, moved to here. It was a pretty shock. Also, like coming from Italy, from the weather was a little bit nicer there. But honestly, I was. Besides that, I was honestly good surprised because I came here playing college, against Creighton a couple times, but we didn't see, the city too much. We came, played the game, and left. But I have to say, by living here, I'm very surprised about this city. It's a city that is growing. It's a city that I would say it's a soccer city. Like there is a lot of followers for soccer for us, but also for Creighton, for UNO. Like when we go watch, we went to watch Creighton against UNO. The stadium was full. So I would say like that's why I like it, and that's why like I'm surprised and I'm enjoying this time here. Not gonna lie.
I want to talk about Italy for a moment. Obviously, you were involved in the Italian youth team, involved in a couple big clubs, youth programs. At what point did you realize that coming to the US and playing in college was going to be the best move for your playing career?
Yeah. So I remember the exact. I don't remember the exact point, but I remember what made me decide to come to US. It was right when I finished the academies in the youth academies in Italy, and I was when there is this in Italy when you finish the academies there is like very like I would say the competition to get to professional level is very very high, and because I had very very good experience in Napoli, I was hoping to stay there, play with the first team a little bit. I even did like 6 or 7 benches with the first team, like when I was back in the academy, in my academies. So, I was feeling my future and everything. And then I remember I read an article about this guy that kind of did like me. It was coming from professional youth academies in Italy, and he decided to go to college. And reading this article, I would say like it really impressed me, like his experience of life. I always been a guy that loved to travel since I was young, and reading this article and learning this experience that you live in college, like learning a new language, getting a degree, which is so important for the future. We can be professional soccer player forever. Um, and all these experiences he did, and I was like, I talked to my dad, and I was like, my dad at the beginning was like, so because he saw me, playing in Italy in professional level. So when I told him, it was like uh, I kind of got him off guard, let's say like that. But then when I make up my mind, he was very supportive, and I have to say, like him and my mom were always very supportive. They wanted me actually to come here, learn a new language and get a degree. So great experience, I have to say. Great choice by me, I have to say, because it was an important one. I'm not gonna lie, leaving all my friends, my family back in Italy is not easy. But coming here, it was one of the best choice of my life, probably the best one.
You had a fruitful experience there. Obviously, a lot of games. You scored some goals from your defensive position. How much of that experience have you carried into playing professionally now in League One?
A lot, I have to say. So first of all, college soccer is is a different sport compared to what I was used to, in Italy. Way more physical, and with the time, with the clock, that stops every time. The game was like very very intense, and I have to say I had to adapt. The first months I was like kind of like trying to adapt to the soccer, to the college soccer. But it made me in this. I was 5 years in college, and I always improved. Like since I was young, and this experience got me first. It got me, getting to know the American soccer better, and mm, honestly, like if you play at certain level in collegiate soccer, like I did, if you play, most of the time in the national tournament, that in the final you play against guys that the next year they're gonna play in MLS, they're gonna play, in at least in championship and in professional level, because it's where they get the professional teams get the player basically. I remember like my freshman year when we lost the national final in 2018 against Maryland. There was uh, so many guys, like my team especially, also like almost everyone went professional. um, and also in the other team, a lot of guys play in MLS. That year I play also against Buchanan, for example. So you start playing against like high level players, and you get used to it. And then when you get to the professional level, it's no different. It's kind of the same. They just have more experience. I would say they make less mistakes. So that was the next step for me last year. Trying to adapt to the professional level is like more calm, making less mistakes than when you're in college.
So splitting time between your college team and playing in USL League Two, obviously there's a lot of expansion every single year in USL League Two. We have a team just down the road here in Louisiana, over in Lafayette. There is a incredible level of value to a lot of those players, but you have made the jump from League Two to League One. What do you value the most about your time in USL League Two?
No, League Two is also, I would say, it's an important league because it's the league that helps you. First of all, in college, as you know, we play just in the fall, and then there is like this period in the spring where you play friendly games, which are not really challenging, I would say, because most of the teams are like rebuilding, or like sometimes we play against a team they didn't have a coach because the coach was scouting in another country. So it's like, I would say, different games compared to the fall. And then you have the summer where if you don't play for the USL League 2, you basically don't play until end of August when the season starts for the fall. So that's why, like, I would say it's so important in League Two to get in a good team, and like you get to know a lot of guys, a lot of players from different colleges, which is also like an important thing because you get you expand your network of people, to get to know a lot of people. And my experience, I was in Ocean City the year before coming here, and I was the coach at that point was Kevin Nass, which actually became the assistant coach last year here in Omaha. So you see, like, it's all connections, and I have to say, probably when the coach maybe was deciding if to sign a contract for me or not, maybe who knows if Kevin was an influence for that because he already had me. I don't know this, but for sure he influenced his decision. It's important. It's important to go there, play good, and showcase yourself, because I would say when you go to the, also there to the final games, there is a lot of like League One scouts that come to watch, Championship scouts. So it's really an important tournament, which I don't think a lot of players take advantage of.
You made your way into Omaha. Very quickly, you made your way into the starting 11. Obviously, you
Mm.
guys go and win the Player Shield last year, first in the regular season. Not the playoffs that you guys would have wanted, but ultimately, you walk in and you guys go and win a championship the first year. You win a trophy, which is so important in this sport. Of the three, you have an opportunity to win. What made the biggest difference for not only you, but the club mentality last season to go in and do so well in 2023?
Great question. So last year, as you might know, we didn't start great. For Omaha, we had, I remember at the beginning, I think it was May or June, we had a whole month without winning, which it was not an easy period for me, for the club, because also we had Dominic as a new coach, which it was his first experience, and as a head coach. So we were trying to figure it out what to do and what not to do get in a better shape. Like we were, like like we were. I would say at some point we were third last year. And I would say we had a meeting one time, and we honestly talked uh, very fairly to all the team, everyone, what we had to do. And I would say that talk made us so compact in the locker room, like make our bond like kind of like a family, And when you have this type of bond in teams, it's very, very hard to break, you know. And just clicked, We had a record winning streak for like 10 wins in a row. Like no one could stop us. And that one was honestly an amazing feeling because when you always win, you're like always happy, I was getting minutes. I was starting most likely every game. And for me, it was amazing because I was in a team that it was unbreakable. We would go in games. I remember we had, so by the end of the year, we had to win every game to win the supporter shield. We couldn't make mistakes, and we went into a tough environment like Tormenta, which was the supporter. It was the playoff winner of the year before,
Yeah.
and they had to make the win to make to the playoff, and we had to win because if you wanted to stay on top. And that game, it was like just a statement to the league, like we were not gonna lose. And went there, won 4-0 at their house. It was honestly like at that point I understood we were gonna win it. Like if you win such a tough game in a tough environment like that, 4-0, it means like you're not gonna lose any games.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what the mentality is right now with this team. Not gonna lie. So we had a lot of returner from last year, like 10 returners, which is for this league is a lot with the coaching staff, which is good. And that's our mentality now. We are a family. Everyone support each other, even if you play or you don't play. Everyone has a role, and it's gonna be very, very hard to beat us.
Now you've spent a lot of time in a few different clubs in Italy and now obviously here in the United States. Does the camaraderie with the teammates, does that bond, does it vary by type of team, by location, or is it one of those things where it doesn't matter where the team is and where the league is and what division you guys are in, that is always the same? Like, do you have the same bond with the guys in Omaha that you might have had growing up with the guys in Italy?
No, for sure no. Like honestly, um, this team, I would say, team culture is proper of I would say American soccer.
Yeah.
Since I came to college, I read in college, I could see this team culture, having team meetings and spending time together. Like in Europe, is not really like that, especially when you're in the youth academies, because there is a lot of competition, and usually competition, doesn't bring out your best. I would say, because everyone wants to make it, so
Yeah.
it's very, very hard. Not gonna lie. I have to say it's an American thing, which I love, and but also it doesn't really mean that in every locker room you're gonna have this kind of bonds. It depends really on the players you have in the locker room, and that's why I would say Dominic did a really great job last year and this year to get guys and players which are team oriented. Not big egos, I would say.
Is this the most fun you've ever had playing soccer?
Oh, honestly, yes. Like last year, right now, the thing is like for me, I'm a winner. So like when you win, is also like I'm enjoying myself. And I have to say, like coming to this team with a winning mentality, uh, and winning like a lot of games. I'm gonna like we are winning a lot, and I'm having fun. I'm having fun also because I'm playing with my friends. Like I have a great relationship with a lot of guys, especially with Pedro Dolabella, Luca Mastrantonio. Like we are really close to each other, um, and no, I'm having fun playing together. It's amazing. It's amazing, and honestly. I cannot wait to see what the future looks like for us, because I think this year we have a very, very good team, and we can do amazing things.
Well, that's the last thing I want to ask you about. Thank you again so much for the time. It's been
Thank
great
you.
talking to you. Very few improvements to be made from 2023. Obviously, you won a trophy in that season. It's really just the playoffs, and you guys have already gotten to a great start to this season, so that's already taken care of. What is the mantra for your dressing room to not only have a great regular season, but is there a a talk? Is there a conversation already about what to do in the playoffs?
No, well, that's the I would say our mentality is thinking one game at a time. You know, we don't think too much in the future. We think about the next game, because it's the most important thing. You know, we don't want to get carried on with the other thoughts and things that can loosen up our focus. You know, like we want to be very um focused on the moment and make sure like we take care of what we have, where we have next. You know, right now we got the cup set. You know, we're getting on Saturday Charlotte Independence, our next target. One game at a time. You know, give everything you have, and then we'll see what happens next. That's our mantra, I would say. 3 points.
3 points. It's going
Yeah.
to be awesome to watch Kansas City play on a baseball field in the middle of
Yes.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yes. It's gonna
That's
be. I don't know. Honestly, yeah, it's
Wait,
gonna be an interesting like. Um, I mean, for them, for us, it's gonna be, I would say, an advantage. You know, we're ready for it. We are um, we are used to it. Let's say like
right.
that. You know,
Was
it's
that
go,
difficult for you to adjust to play on a baseball field?
for sure. I would say the first game, yes, I was like, what's going on? Especially because I was playing on the left, you know, and that side is like, especially that side is like very, bumpy.
Yeah.
But then, after you get used to it, then I would say it's an advantage for us, to play home. So I'm very excited. In fact, when I saw the draw and we were the first drawn, I was like very, very excited. I didn't care who we would play, but Kansas City, the better. We want to shock US, the United States. We'll see what happens.
Well, certainly rooting for any cup set. I'd love to see a USL team, whether from the championship or League One, go and win that trophy this year. Best of luck the rest of the season. It was great talking to you, Marco. And again, heal up and get ready for Saturday.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Riley. I really appreciate talking with you.
Thank you so much to Marco, Union Omaha, and USL League One for their cooperation. I know it's a double match week. I know they have Open Cup starting for the USL 1 and Championship clubs. So to be able to squeeze something like this in, it's not lost on us, it's not lost on me. So shout out to USL League 1 and Union Omaha, and especially, obviously, Marco for doing the show. Also, thank you so much for watching this episode of the United Soccer Lounge. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the internet, at Riley James IAC on Instagram and X, at goals.tv on Instagram, at goals_TV on X. As always, thank you so much for watching our show, and we'll see you next week for episode 7 of the United Soccer Lounge. For Marco Milanese, I'm Riley James, if anyone cares.